Thursday morning, everyone, and welcome to another video. Today will be a dual video and plus a very special week that I want to take part in at the end of August. So today I'm going to film my July wrap-up as well as my August TBR plus the books I hope to get to during a reading rush called Summerween, which was thought up by a couple books, well, one booktube channel that I like watch sometimes, and it's Gabby Reads, and she always features horrors and thrillers, and I always seem to read those, so this would be the perfect reading rush for me. And without further ado, let's get started with my July wrap-up. I'm not going to give you stats, but I'm just going to give you what I read and just a brief synopsis on them. So let's get started. I read 3 audiobooks and 3 physical books. So the first book I read was an audiobook called The Forgotten Ones by Stina Holmes. This was about a family secret about what happened in the past, and it's about this woman's father who is dying, and she didn't know that he was her father. And this was a pretty emotional novel. It's definitely a stab at literary fiction for me, and overall I really did enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it. So I actually gave The Forgotten Ones 5 stars, so yeah, I definitely recommend it. Check it out on Audible right now. The second book I completed was also an audiobook. This one was called A Litter of Bones, and this was by J.D. Kirk. This was a Scottish detective book, basically about a kidnapping and just trying to get the kids back from this creep, and it was okay. It wasn't really all that, in my opinion, but there's not much to say about this novel, so I ended up giving this 3 stars. The next book I completed was one of my first physical books, and yes, that's right, I conquered The Stand. I pushed through the last 453 pages of this. I was on page 700 at the end of last month, and this book is really, really incredible. It is long, but I had a blast with it, and it follows a super flu, and well, that's book 1. Then book 2 is about the forces of good. Then book 3 is about the forces of good and evil. So I talked about this book quite a few times on my channel already, so hopefully there will be some other times that I'll talk about this book, but this is easily one of my all-time favorite Stephen King novels, and it's worth it. So I obviously gave this 4 stars. So if you haven't read The Stand yet, definitely give it a try, and you will not regret it. So The Stand, the complete and uncut edition by Stephen King. The next and final audiobook I read was basically just a novella. I just knocked it out in maybe a week or so. I picked out Madhouse by Miguel Estrada. and this one was about a kid who was kidnapped, and he is held hostage by a couple of crazy people, and he just fights to survive. We've heard many plots about this, and I really enjoyed this. It's really short. It's like 114 pages or so, but you can knock it out in probably one sitting. The audiobook itself was like 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I actually ended up giving this 5 stars. Those are the 3 audiobooks I read in July. And the next book, which is book 5 that I finished in July, will be The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is his second published novel. This is about a secret that a girl was hiding for 15 years, and she played like 2 truths and a lie, and it's a really good mystery that'll keep you like guessing till the end. This ending full of twists, so I definitely recommend this one, but I do have a couple other Riley Sager novels on this in this video, so I think this one might be my favorite thus far. It is only the second one I read, but I have a feeling that the other 2 that I have on this list will probably be better. So that's The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Definitely give it a try, and it's a perfect summer book to read, so I ended up giving this 5 stars as well. The final book I read in July is, I finished White Fang by Jack London. This is the oldest book I've read this year and on this list, so this was published in 1904, if I'm not mistaken. This was published after Call of the Wild, but in this one, it is about a wolf who is captured by Indians, and he basically like fights to survive in the Yukon wilderness. And near the end of the book, he is actually picked up by what he calls a love master, which is a man who feels the love for him. And I enjoyed this, but I think I prefer Call of the Wild. But I already read Call of the Wild back in February, so oh yeah, I read like 158 pages of this, so it was hard to read at times because it's a classic, and I'm not a really big classic reader, but I enjoy both of these, but I ended up giving this collection like maybe a 4.3. White Fang to me was kind of like less entertaining as opposed to like Call of the Wild, but yeah, it's White Fang by Jack London. And that was all the books I read in July. And without further ado, I'm going to segue into the second half of this video and give you my August TBR. Let's do this. Oh yeah, and plus that Summerween idea I'm thinking of. So anyway, let's dive in. I got a stack there, so the first book I'm working on in August, and I'm actually almost probably going to be less than 100 pages as of tonight. I got to page 311. I'm actually hoping to finish Revival by The Weeknd, and I started this on Saturday, and I have been like reading it ever since. This book is very, very dark. I will get into more detail once I do a review on this, but this follows a man named Jamie Morton. He befriends a new minister that he met in his childhood, and he since grows up and becomes like a guitarist and a heroin addict, and he meets Charlie Jacobs, which is now opposed to be like a faith healer of some sort, and he figures out what happens to some of his healers, and he tries to stop them, and he has a fetish for electricity, as you see on the cover there, so I'm really, really enjoying this so far, and I cannot wait to knock it out really soon. So that is Revival by Stephen King. Whee! The next book that I want to get to after Revival is HeartShaped Box by Joe Hill. I haven't started this one yet, but this kind of reminds me of Revival in a way, because it is also about an aging musician, but in this one he acquires some sort of special heart-shaped box, and it grants him his every wishes. So this sounds really, really dark to me as well, so definitely can't wait to get to this one. So I'll most likely start this as soon as Saturday, depending on my little goal for Revival I have in the next couple days. So HeartShaped Box by Joe Hill. The next book I got picked out for August, and I was hoping to like knock out both of these books in like a week during the last week in July, but I'm gonna definitely do it this month, and that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. I've mentioned this book quite a few times on my channel too, but this is a book about like a group of Boy Scouts who get lost in the Canadian wilderness, and they come across a sickly man who has like some kind of like disease, and it's very contagious, and I heard that there is a lot of gross body horror in this, so this will definitely be a priority this month. That's why I'm hoping to like knock out a lot of these books in like maybe like a week or so. So that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. The next book I hope to get to before Summerween is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is his third published novel, and it's basically about like a haunted house, and it's about like this nanny who takes care of the house, so I bet it'll be a pretty good book too. I really enjoyed Final Girls and The Last Time I Lied. I've heard a lot of people enjoyed this one, so I can't wait to dive into this one too. So Lock Every Door. And I forgot to mention too, I wanted to add some audiobooks onto this TBR. So I'm currently working on Too Close by Natalie Daniels. So far, I really don't like this novel at all. It's kind of like a romantic thriller, if you will. But it's about like these two women who befriend each other, and one is like a psychiatrist or something, and the other is her patient, and the patient was accused of like a heinous crime towards like her husband and kid. To me, this book makes absolutely no sense, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. I might actually probably speed up the time on my Audible, so to get through it a lot faster. But yeah. The next book I hope to get to as an audiobook is called The Last Smile in Sunder City by Luke Arnold. And if you know who Luke Arnold is, he is of Black Sails fame. It was a pirate show on Starz a couple years back, but this is his debut novel. It's a sci-fi, and trying to remember what the synopsis was about, but it sounded interesting to me. I think it has something to do with like robots, like trying to get Sunder City back to what it is or something. I really don't know much about this, but it is a newer novel, so hopefully that's better than Too Close. And then as for my next audiobook, I haven't picked out one yet, but I'm hoping to just like knock out like a short horror novella or something to like make it part as Summerween. And speaking of Summerween, I'm going to show you the books that I want to read for that reading rush. So without further ado, the first one I want to show off is The Shadows by Alex North. This is his newest book, and this basically follows like a group of 5 adults, and they try to like remember what happened in the past, and it has kind of like Slender Man vibes, and it also reminds me of Are You Afraid of the Dark in a way. So definitely can't wait to get to this one. This is going to be a priority. I'm hoping to like maybe read this in maybe like 2 days or something, so wish me luck on that. The next book I want to pick up is a significantly shorter novel, and this one was part of my July book haul, and that is Blister by Jeff Strand. This is about a cartoonist who comes across like a severely burnt 23-year-old woman, and he either tries to befriend her or she becomes a murderous imp. So I'm hoping to knock this out maybe in like a day or two as well, if all goes well with the shadows. So that is Blister by Jeff Strand. And it's really not all that long, so I should be able to conquer it. And the final book that I am really hoping to finish for Summerween, and I will be done with Riley Sager as a binge-a-thon, and that is Home Before Dork. And this one, it has similar traits to Lock Every Door, except for this one, it's a woman who goes back to her dad's home. He was a famed horror writer who wrote about what happened in his house, and he commits suicide, and she tries to uncover what happened in that house. It reminds me of like Amityville Horror in a way, so this might have a little bit of like Conjuring stuff to it, and this one will definitely probably be my favorite one because I love paranormal stuff, so definitely can't wait to get to this one. So yeah. But that's all the books that I read in July and also an August TBR. So if you guys like this, before I go, I want to show you what I want to review next as a movie / TV adaptation, and that is the Stand miniseries. I finished part 3 today, so maybe like within the next couple days I will watch part 4 hopefully, and I'll film this as soon as maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, so look out for that video. I have quite a bit to say on this one. Really, really good so far, so I love the book, so I bet this will be really, really good as well. So that's all I have to say about this video. If you guys like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Otherwise, stay awesome and keep reading. And if you're interested in Summerween, I recommend looking into Gabby Reads' video, and you will know everything there is to know about Summerween. So I'm going to send you guys off. I'll see you guys in the next couple days. Later.